Hi, welcome to Retro Faith. This is my first episode of my new YouTube channel. Hopefully you enjoy yourself. Today we're going to be talking about Dreamcast controllers. Now anyone that knows me on the scene knows I absolutely love my fighting games, especially my 2D fighters. And there was one game released towards the end of 1999 on my favourite console, Dreamcast, and that was Capcom versus SNK. Wonderful. So yeah, got the different versions here. Got Europe and Japanese one. We're not here to talk about the fighting games today. We'll do that in another show. What we're here to talk about today is some special controllers that were released in conjunction with this game, so people could have a much better experience while playing it. Now, the Dreamcast is quite notorious for its poor controller design. Now, while it's my favourite console, I certainly don't think it's one of the best controllers I've ever used in my entire life. There's certainly a lot better ones out there, but it does the job and it does what it needs to, and it's quite responsive. But anyone that's played fighting games knows that the controller is so important, and this one just doesn't really cut the mustard, especially the D-pad, where it's just so horrible to use, and it's functional rather than precise. So good thing was ASCII company decided to bring out some controllers, especially around the same sort of time as Capcom versus SNK, and here they are. Now, the first thing you notice when you look at these is, where have I seen that before? Yes, and when I first used this, first thing that jumped to me was, I've used this controller before, and I knew straight away where it was. Sega Saturn. Anyone that's had a model MK2 Saturn will know that that controller is absolute dynamite, and the D-pad is probably the best D-pad of any games console ever. Now, these ASCII pads, ASCII fight type pads, they emulate that really, really well. That kind of almost looseness where you can roll your fingers around and you can really feel exactly at what point of the D-pad you're on for really precise controls. Now, especially some of the SNK characters, some of their moves with quarter circle and half circles that need to be done relatively quickly and in succession, having a really accurate D-pad really makes the difference on that. The buttons are really responsive as well. You can still fit your little VMU in the top, and it has a rumble feature built in, so you don't need to add an additional vibration pack, which is useful. And overall, it's highly recommended. Anyone that wants to play fighting games and shooters as well. Anyone that enjoys their shooters with the arcade stick on Dreamcast will instantly love this as well as an alternative, because the D-pad is actually the same sort of motion and rotation as you go along. I use it a lot for a lot of the shoot 'em ups as well on Dreamcast, so really good. But not only is it a great controller, what makes it really special was it was actually part of a range of controllers that were released at the time. So this is the standard one, and it came in this lovely orange box, which emulates the Dreamcast colours in Japan, which is absolutely lovely. So you've got M. Bison on there, you know, being mean as normal. And there's loads of these released. It was the standard controller. You still pick them up on eBay. Normally don't come with the boxes, but have a look out. You know, you'll see this a lot, so have a look out for it. But what happened as well was they decided that because it was Capcom and SNK, they would also release special controllers for each of those. So the first one up is the Capcom controller. Absolutely love this. You've got Evil Ryu there, not to mix up with normal Ryu, the bad version. And as you can see, they've got little Capcom versus SNK, and the yellow and the blue on the actual controller match the Capcom colours, which is really, really cool. And what was also really awesome was, especially when you're, for collectors, someone like me who absolutely just loves collecting random stuff, in each of these packs you had these cool little collectible cards that had all of the characters' moves on them. So you had that first of all, and then on the reverse of them they just had like almost like, you know, Pokemon cards or collector cards or whatever you may have. So that was the Capcom one, and obviously because they made a Capcom one, it would have been rude not to have made an SNK one. Now this is my personal favourite out of the collection. Just love the colours, love SNK. Really kind of appeals to me, the aesthetics. This one happens to be pretty much brand new. I've never actually used it, and I know it come new because I bought it new back in the day from an import seller, and similar as well, exactly like the Capcom one. It has the, if I can open the box, it has the little cards in that that you can use for exactly the same as that one, so I won't bother showing you those. But what makes this collection really special is a really super limited controller that was released at the same time. Anyone that knows anything about Japanese Saturn might know a range called This Is Cool, which basically featured a Sega Saturn and a controller that was made out of this sort of see-through greeny blacky plastic. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, it might come through. And this is almost like a love letter to that series of the Sega Saturn, I think, and how you went about getting one of these. Couldn't just walk into a shop and buy it, no. You had to be entered into a prize draw. And the way you get an entry ticket was buying both the Capcom and the SNK controller and sending your receipts off to Dreamcast Direct, which was similar to like Nintendo Club for those in the UK who, you know, we order direct from Nintendo. Sega had the exact same thing in Japan, and once you sent off your 2 receipts there, they'd enter you for a prize draw, and there was 1,000 of these made. Now, I didn't manage to enter the prize draw because I didn't buy both controllers at the time, and it was only, from my research, only eligible to Japanese citizens. But luckily, a friend of mine in Japan, who I speak to a lot about fighting games and all sorts of things, managed to source me one quite a long time ago, and now I have the full set. So that's the full set of ASCII controllers. There's also a matching set of arcade sticks as well, which I have, which I might show another time, but that's it for the controllers. So hope you've enjoyed that, and enjoy the next episode of Retro Fave when we're back on the air. Thanks. Bye.